All right, let's get straight into it. We're breaking down the survival guide for the 2026 bull run. This isn't just about surviving, though, it's about thriving. We're going to give you the playbook to navigate what's coming and actually use all that chaos to your advantage. So let's dive in. Does this look familiar? That feeling in the pit of your stomach when your portfolio swings by 40% in a single day. It is absolutely terrifying. But what if I told you that insane volatility, it isn't a bug, it's actually a feature? For the people who get it, this isn't a crash to be feared. No, it's the cheat code the wealthy use to build fortunes. And today, we're going to show you exactly how that code works. So, here's our game plan. This is your roadmap from being a nervous spectator to a seriously confident player. First, we're going to break down the volatility cheat code for this cycle. Then we'll get into the Zen mindset you absolutely need to stay calm when everyone else is panicking. After that, it gets tactical. We'll show you how to spot the games the big whales are playing, how to execute the perfect dip buy, and finally, how to see the market's next big move coming. Okay, let's jump into Section 1, the Volatility Cheat Code. See, before you can make a dime in this market, you have to understand why it's playing by a new set of rules. The old strategies, they just don't cut it anymore. And understanding this difference, that's where we get our edge. So, what's really changed? Well, it all comes down to one thing. Institutional money is finally here in a big way. And when these big players enter the market, they bring so much cash that it creates these massive, violent price swings. Now, for most people, that's scary. But for us, that volatility is the opportunity. You know those long, scary-looking lines on a chart, the wicks? That's where the smart money makes its moves. We're going to learn to stop fearing the wick and start trading it. So, knowing why the market's so wild is one thing. Actually surviving it, that's a whole other ballgame. And that brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most important part of this entire explainer. Because before you ever click buy or sell, the real battle is won right up here, in your own head. The goal is to become what we call a Zen trader. And no, this has nothing to do with meditating on a mountaintop. It's about raw discipline. A Zen trader makes their plan before the chaos hits, and then they execute that plan, period. They use cold, hard logic, not gut feelings. And they see the market's biggest fear as a giant, flashing buy sign. And look at this. It really lays it all out. There are two paths, and you have to pick one. On the left, you've got the emotional trader. They chase pumps, they get totally racked by their emotions, and they always seem to panic sell right at the bottom. But on the right, the Zen trader does the exact opposite. They buy when things look awful, they stick to their strategy, they ignore all the hype and noise. The most important thing here is that you get to choose which column you're in. This right here, this is the entire philosophy. And it feels completely wrong. It goes against every human instinct, which is exactly why most people lose money. Our brains are wired to get excited and buy when things are going up, and to panic and sell when they're crashing. The Zen trader just flips that script. They take profits when everyone is euphoric, and they go shopping when there's blood in the streets. It's just like retail. You don't buy a winter coat in December, you buy it on clearance in April. Okay, so your mind is right. Now let's talk about the other players on the field. You're not just trading against other people like you, you're up against the whales. These are the huge institutions playing games designed specifically to shake you out of your positions. Whales create these shakeouts for one simple reason: to get your crypto cheaper than you did. They'll intentionally push the price down just far enough to trigger all the automatic sell orders, the stop losses, that regular traders set. It's called stop loss hunting. They basically manufacture a flash crash just to scoop up everyone's assets on the cheap. The whole thing is designed to make you panic. Your only job? Don't. Stay calm, and most importantly, stay solvent. All right, enough defense. Let's switch to offense. You've got the right mindset, you know how to spot the whales games. Now it's time to actually execute. This is your tactical playbook for buying those dips with absolute precision. You know, they call trying to buy a crashing asset catching a falling knife for a reason. It's incredibly dangerous if you don't have a plan. So here's our plan. Step 1. You never ever buy that first violent drop. That is almost always a trap. Step 2. You have to wait for the price to show you it's found some kind of floor. That's your confirmation. And step 3. You need to know exactly where you want to buy before the drop even begins. You need to find your magic level. And one of the most powerful magic levels is this number, 0.618. It comes from the Fibonacci sequence, a pattern that shows up everywhere in nature, and, for some reason, it shows up all over financial markets too. This specific level is called the golden pocket, and it works like magic for a very simple reason. Thousands of traders, and more importantly, billions of dollars in trading algorithms, are all programmed to buy right at this exact spot. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So you found your level, but how exactly do you press the buy button? You've basically got two options. You can try to time the exact bottom with one giant lump sum buy, which is incredibly high stress and almost impossible. Or you can dollar cost average, or DCA. This just means you buy in smaller, fixed amounts as the price drops. It takes all the emotion out of it, gives you a much better average price, and saves you from the panic of trying to be a hero.
Okay, now this might be the most important number in this entire guide, 1 to 2%. That is the absolute most of your entire portfolio you should ever risk on a single trade. This isn't just a suggestion, it is the ironclad rule of survival. If you stick to this, no single bad trade can ever wipe you out. It keeps you in the game.
All right, we've gone deep on mindset and we've covered the tactics for a single trade. Now, let's zoom out. Let's look at how to read the whole market so we can start anticipating what's going to happen next.
A killer tool for this is the VIX. People call it the market's fear gauge. And while it technically tracks the stock market, fear is fear, and it spills over everywhere. But here's the key. You use it as a contrarian indicator. When the VIX is spiking and the news is screaming extreme fear, that is often the moment of maximum financial opportunity. And when the VIX is low and everyone's relaxed and complacent, that's when you need to be the most careful. And finally, you have to understand how money flows through the crypto market. It happens in a pretty predictable cycle. First, the big one, Bitcoin, takes off. After it runs for a while and starts to cool off, a lot of that profit rotates into the next biggest asset, which is usually Ethereum. Then, finally, when people are feeling really greedy, that money cascades all the way down into the smaller, riskier altcoins. Watching for that rotation is the key to knowing what's about to pump next. So there you have it. That's the playbook. We've covered your psychology, how to spot the whales, and how to execute a perfect entry. The main takeaway is this. In a crazy market, your plan is everything. It's your shield. If you stick to it, you turn everyone else's fear into your opportunity. But there is another level to this game. What if you could see these rotations happening before they even start? How do the pros track whale wallets to get in front of the next big move? Well, we'll be breaking that down in our next explainer. All right, welcome back. So in part one, we laid the foundation, right? We built the rocket ship. We talked all about mastering your mindset, how to buy the fear when everybody else is totally freaking out. But now it's time for the main event. Let's actually launch this thing.
I mean, let's be honest here. Buying stuff, that's only half the battle. It's the easy part, really. If you don't have a solid plan to actually take those profits, you're basically just a passenger. So this time, it's all about securing the bag. We're going to turn those green numbers on your screen into actual real-world wealth. Okay, let's get right into it. This first part is, well, it's absolutely critical. Having a real, rock-solid plan for when to sell, that's what separates the people who just visit crypto from the ones who actually build wealth here. Seriously, anyone can click buy. It's knowing when to click sell that makes all the difference. So picture this. You did it. You followed the plan from part one, you bought the dip, and now your portfolio is looking good, like really good. You're feeling like a financial genius, right? Well, guess what? This right here, this is the moment of maximum danger. So, what do you do now? All right, let's really hammer these home because these are the golden rules. First up, nobody ever went broke taking a profit. It sounds so simple, right? But trust me, that little voice of greed in your head will always be whispering, hey, just a little more, one more pump. You have to learn to shut that voice down. Second, don't round trip your bags. This is a classic painful mistake. It's when you ride an investment all the way to the top and then all the way back down to where you started. We are not doing that. And finally, this is the real pro move. Sell into strength. This means you sell when everything's awesome, when the market's euphoric, not when the panic has already set in. And this slide right here, this is it. This is the number one reason people lose everything in a bull run. It's a lack of a plan. Simple as that. Without a pre-written strategy for when to get out, your emotions just completely take the driver's seat. Greed takes over, you hold on for way too long, and poof, you watch it all just disappear. Not this time. We are not going to let that happen to you. So the key is to have a system. And honestly, this one's my absolute favorite. It's called the ladder out strategy. Just think about it like you're climbing a ladder to get your profits to safety. So step one,
You look at the chart and you find those key price levels. The spots where the price has had trouble breaking through in the past. Those are your resistance levels. Step 2, you set up sell orders to offload a little bit, maybe 10%, at each of those levels that the price climbs. This takes the emotion out of it. It's all automatic. Then step 3, and this is important, you always keep a small moon bag. That's just a little bit of your original position that you hold on to just in case the thing goes absolutely parabolic. So see, you're locking in gains step by step, but you still have a little skin in the game for that crazy upside.
Okay, so how in the world do you know when the party might be winding down? Well, you start looking for these classic signals. You know the feeling. Suddenly, everyone on Twitter and TikTok is a trading genius, right? They're all posting screenshots of their massive gains. That's a big one, but the ultimate signal, the one that never fails, we call it the grandma test. Yeah, it's when you're at a family gathering and your relatives who have never talked about this stuff before start asking you which crypto to buy. When that happens, you need to be very careful. That's max euphoria, and it almost always happens right near the top.
All right, so you did it. You sold, you took profit. That's awesome. But wait, your job is not over. Not even close. Now you've got to protect that money. You have to shield it from all the crazy volatility so you're ready to pounce on the next big opportunity. Just look at the difference here. It's night and day. On one side, you have the pure stress of just holding on through a crash, just watching all that hard work literally evaporate on the screen. It's awful. But on the other side, you've got the total peace of mind that comes from moving your profits into stablecoins. You instantly lock in your US dollar value. You're not emotionally tied to the price swings anymore. And the best part? You have a war chest of what we call dry powder, basically cash on the sidelines, ready to deploy when the next massive sale happens. This is a total game changer.
Okay, let's have a quick but super serious chat. You know the saying, right? Death and taxes. Well, it's true in crypto too. Please do not be that person who gets a nasty surprise at the end of the year. When you take profits, act like a professional. Immediately set a chunk of that aside for taxes. There's great software out there to help you track everything, talk to an accountant. This is not optional. It's a non-negotiable part of protecting your wealth.
Okay, now for the really fun stuff. We've locked in our profits, we've protected our capital. So, where does the smart money look next? Because this market never, ever sleeps. The big stories, the big trends for 2026 are already starting to form. And this is where we're going to hunt for the next wave of massive gains. First up, you have the absolute monster of a trend, AI and crypto coming together. This isn't just a small thing. We're talking about a complete shift in how things are done. Think about AI that can predict market moves, or automated trading bots working for you around the clock. This is going to be the new meta, the dominant theme of the next cycle, and it is going to be absolutely explosive.
And hot on its heels is gaming. Now, I'm not talking about those clunky, boring games from the last bull run. No way. This is what we're calling Play to Earn 2.0. We're talking about actual, high-quality, fun-to-play games that just happen to have crypto built in seamlessly. This is the sector that could bring hundreds of millions of new people into crypto. The rule is simple. Follow the users, and you will find the money.
Okay, let's just slow down for a minute here. Because as your portfolio grows, so does the target on your back. And I'm not kidding when I say this might be the single most important part of this whole guide. Security is everything. One slip-up, one moment of carelessness, and you can lose every single thing you've worked for. We have to get this right.
Think of this as your personal security checklist. These are habits you need to build. You have to be paranoid. Always verify the smart contracts you're about to connect your wallet to. Make it a regular habit to go in and revoke old permissions you've given out. And for the love of everything, please remember this. If some random project is promising you insane, guaranteed returns, if it seems way too good to be true, that's because it is. It's a scam. End of story. And the ultimate shield against all this? That's cold storage. So what exactly is cold storage? The easiest way to think about it is like your own personal digital Fort Knox. You're taking your crypto and moving it onto a small physical device, a hardware wallet that is completely 100% disconnected from the internet. This makes it pretty much impossible for a hacker to get to your stuff online. This is where that famous saying comes from. Not your keys, not your crypto. When your assets are in cold storage, you, and only you, are in control. It's the gold standard for long-term security. Okay, so now that we've got our defenses up, let's zoom out. Let's look at the big picture. Because this isn't just about catching one bull run and getting out. This is about positioning yourself for a technological revolution that's going to play out over decades. It's all about playing the long game. Let's put this all in perspective for a second. These crypto markets tend to move in these big 4-year cycles. They're mostly tied to the Bitcoin halving event. But if you really look at where we are in terms of global adoption, we are still so early. That means your single biggest advantage over everyone else who's frantically trading day to day is just patience. Seriously, you have to start thinking in terms of years, not days or hours. And look, the good news is you don't have to figure all this out by yourself. Being part of a good community is a massive advantage. But, and this is a big but, you have to find the right community. My advice? Follow the smart money, not the loud money. Pay attention to the builders, the developers, the researchers, not just the influencers screaming about the next moonshot. Find a small group of smart people to share real ideas with and learn to tune out all the constant fear, uncertainty, and doubt, all the FUD.
So here we are, the entire playbook, all on one slide. It all starts with mastering your own mind, controlling your own fear and greed. That is the bedrock of everything. Then you use that control to execute your plan, to buy when there is absolute panic in the market. And then you have the discipline to sell into euphoria, to take profits while everyone else is getting greedy. And woven through all of it, you protect your assets like your life depends on it, because it kinda does. That is the path.
And of course, I've got to say it, none of this is financial advice. This is all just for education and hopefully a little bit of entertainment. At the end of the day, you are the boss of your own money, so please always do your own research. So we've covered the what and the why, but in our next explainer, we're going even deeper. We are going to dive into the world of on-chain alpha. I'm talking about learning how to track the moves of the biggest players, finding where they're quietly buying, and using the exact same tools the pros use to get a real tangible edge. You are not going to want to miss that one. Stick around.